Hey guys, what's up? This is Plain and Simple. I am a converted football or soccer fan wherever you are in the world. I've been watching for about 5 years. I want to talk all things football and I want you guys to join the conversation. Alright, guys, so this week we have Man City-Liverpool, who will get top four in the Premier League, the relegation battle, English arrogance, and a thank you to NBC. Alright, guys, so I just finished watching the Liverpool game and I just want to say absolutely 100% game of the season. I mean, what an absolute display by both of these teams to come out swinging, winding down to the. You may hear some noise in the background. I apologize, but winding down to the end of the season. Such a massive game in terms of the title race. As it stands, I believe it is just 1 point between these two teams. But yeah, massive display. I just want to start off by saying it was a great start by City. Obviously, they had the early goal. Liverpool didn't quite come out of the gates as many would expect. They took a little bit to get into the game. And some people were starting to wonder, what the heck is going on. But Liverpool did end up responding a few minutes later. Just back to back bows. It was awesome to see. They delivered in the first 15 minutes, I believe. Both teams scored. As I was watching throughout the game, it was really interesting to see what looked like to me both teams really content to just let the they were really content in letting the other team have the flanks, and that's where I believe the long balls paid off the most. Really good job by both goalkeepers, Ederson and Alisson, and both the defenses to really use the space down the flanks to get their wingers in behind. I thought they did a really good job of doing that. Yeah. And of course, chances, a lot of chances both ways, particularly Gabriel Jesus had a great opportunity to get Kevin De Bruyne in for him to score. I don't have the exact minute in front of me, but it was I believe deep into the second half. Yeah. It was just these teams they deliver. They've been delivering season after season. It's so great to see two teams heavily stacked with the way that the game is played now, to just trade blows. It was fast paced. It was tactical, but it was also just in the moment. You could see a couple of the players really just feeling out the game, reading the game. Kevin De Bruyne, shout out to him. He was excellent. He was everywhere. He was in attack. He was in defense. He really marshaled the group, and for him to step up, it's wonderful to see such a great player just man his team the way he did. And Phil Foden had a great game as well. He had some good parts of the game where he was getting into good areas, dribbling past the defense, switching the play. Raheem Sterling did a great job to get him behind. Van Dijk, really good game at the back, putting out the fires, stopping the City attack. Alisson, even though he had made a couple mistakes overall, he made one or two good saves that prevented City from going ahead. So shout out to him for sure. Shout out to Klopp. He obviously made some little tweaks to have Liverpool coming out the gate. Really, really, really good game. Um, Hopefully we obviously as far as the title race goes, it won't be too affected. I don't think, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, it's pretty much as you were, but great to see these two teams go at it, and hopefully, it looks like one of those two teams will be crowned Premier League champions. So I'll catch up with you guys later on that. All right. So next up is top four. There was plenty of talk of it being really tight at the beginning of this season. Contenders were obviously Tottenham, West Ham, Arsenal, and Manchester United. Now, honestly, I didn't have Tottenham to do as well as they're doing right now, and I know they've brought in Antonio Conte, who has sparked a transformation. But for me, Tottenham have always been that team that's been there, but not in it, if you know what I mean. Now, I applaud Conte. Fantastic job. Oftentimes you see managers come in and they do pretty well right off the bat, and then they kind of like tail off at the end of the season. But for Spurs, it's kind of been the opposite in a sense. It's kind of taken time. They obviously they beat Manchester City. What was that? A couple of months back, I want to say. They've had results here and there, but it's been rough. It's taken time, but it's coming together. But is it fair to say Arsenal have surpassed expectations? Maybe with someone will be rolling their eyes, but I don't care. But they've done decent this season. They're still in the fight. They're not out just yet. There was panic. The panic button mode has been hit for some Arsenal fans, but don't panic just yet. I promise. But I'm being genuine when I say I'm glad they've done well this season. Personally, I am rooting for them for top four. I'd like to see Arsenal be in Europe again, be in the top half of the table again, and just compete again. I think it's better that way. They're a big club, and frankly, the jokes about them bottling it every season are kind of old. Not gonna lie. But yeah, they've surpassed my expectations, and I for one am really really glad that they've been in it, even though some results haven't gone their way. United were picked to be in the run-in as well, but United are United. No surprise that they've slipped up again with their 1-0 defeat to relegation contenders Everton. Are they still in it? Maybe. But they need to be a lot more convincing than they have been thus far. They've been really disappointing. Ronaldo, he hasn't really done as well as he would have hoped. He hasn't really had the impact. Maybe that's a sign of him getting older. Who knows? But as far as I think who will get it, I think it'll come down to individual performances when it gets down to the wire. When the games have piled up and the end of the season is near, who is going to step up and secure top four for their squad? Son Heung-min, 17 goals this season. He's been fantastic. Harry Kane has slowed down this season, but him and Kane have been getting it done. They're the magic duo for Spurs. Without them, where would Spurs be? We do not know, honestly. Injuries may be key. Who's coming back in from injury? Who's going to be out? Right now, if I were to say, if you honestly wanted me to say, I'd go with Spurs. They have a more experienced manager. The squad is more experienced. Arsenal, they may just miss out, and that's sad because I'm rooting for them. But the young players that they have, they may just have to take this as a learning experience and go at it again next season. And as far as games alone, these are the next up. So let me know what you think in the comments. Another thing, do you believe Arsenal has finally made some progress with its squad. Do you believe Arteta has made the transformation that he wants to make? It was rough in the beginning of Arteta's tenure, not gonna lie. But it looks like the players have finally understood Arteta ball. So looking forward to the rest of the games and looking forward to next season, really. Alright, so I want to talk a little bit about the relegation battle. So I have to say, as far as Burnley and Everton, I'm shocked, but I'm not shocked, if that makes sense. Obviously, Everton, they did really well last season. So to see the drop off, it's quite dramatic and it is quite shocking. But just think about it for a little bit. It's kind of hard. It's kind of easy, excuse me, to see why the drop off is happening. You look at the size of their squad, the manager, the games that they've played. It takes a toll. It happens, and if they were to go down, it'd be a shame. Obviously, they've done a great job staying up all these years. Kudos to them for the size of the club that they are. So these are the next 5 games. Let me know what you guys think. The only reason I'd be shocked about Burnley is sorry about that. The only reason I'd be shocked about Burnley is I kind of got used to seeing them in the Premier League. If that makes sense. It's been what 5-6 years since I got into the sport, and they've just kind of always been there. Tiny Burnley mixing it in with the big boys. But it's the same reasons as Everton, kind of. Tiny squad, tiny budget. They don't really have players that can really step up and make a difference. It's hard right now to see a reason they'd stay up unless results magically go their way. I think everyone knew it was a matter of time, honestly. And here are the next 5 games for Burnley. Let me know what you guys think. And well, Watford, I don't see where they're going. They're the new Fulham, to be honest, even though Fulham is still Fulhaming in the championship as well. I don't see why they stay up unless results go their way. Basement Boys, Norwich, I just don't know what kind of team they are. They've had a couple of good results, but then again, I don't see a clear direction from them. The players that they have don't really know whether they make a difference or not. They don't really compete. Do they even want to be in the Premier League, to be honest? I know the Premier League is brutal, but I don't see a reason that they stay up, and they most likely won't. So that's just my opinions. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Alright, so this next one is kind of interesting. So the World Cup draws came out probably about a couple weeks ago now, and the USA, obviously where I'm from, has been drawn with England, Iran, and whoever wins the European playoff of Wales, Ukraine, and Scotland. So this is an interesting one, not because of the actual group itself, but because of the stories that were coming out of the English media. English arrogance is what they branded it as. It's a funny one. It England are a interesting group. They have so much talent at their disposal, so much potential, and yet they have not reached it for various reasons. But I from what I observed, I do believe they're getting there. The Euros were, I think they should have won that game. I think they should have put it to bed. They didn't, and Italy turned around and won it. I don't. Do they have the right to be arrogant? Some people say no. The English themselves will probably obviously say yes because of the fact that they've won it and the good players that they have. Um, England is home to one of the best soccer football leagues that in the world. Um, do they have the right to be arrogant? For me, it's difficult to say. They haven't won anything, but yet they have the players that they have at their disposal, the talent that they have. The manager has successfully gotten his players to buy into what he wants them to do. Um, and I mean, if I were to say, the USA will hopefully give them some competition. I'm banking on that. I just think it's an interesting one how they have been I mean in some cases they have been arrogant and it backfired, but I just think it's difficult to say why they have that urge to just jump the gun when they've proven nothing. When they've proven nothing, and until they can prove something, until they can prove that they can get over the line, do they have that right as football's home, as they would say? We'll see. We'll see. I just thought it was an interesting one, and I wanted to share with you guys, and I want to get your opinions. Do the English have the right to be arrogant, and were they arrogant? Do you think they are? Let me know. Okay, and the last thing I have for you guys today is American fans will be familiar with what I'm about to say. Thank you, NBC. This isn't a paid advert or anything, I promise. I just want to say thanks for betting on the Premier League and believing in it. Thank you for taking it to the next level. Thank you for having the courage to bet on a sport that's not really, it's not a household. It's not something that many Americans pay attention to. Just your coverage and the way you talk about the sport. I will be forever eternally grateful for what you've done for the sport in this country, and I'll always look forward to Premier League mornings with Rebecca and the other guys, Arlo, Lee, Tim Howard. You guys do a great job and keep pushing the Premier League forward.